Right now, for some insight, we're now joined by Mr. Wang Jin, Associate Professor at Northwest University in Xi'an. He's a specialist in the Middle East studies. Welcome to Global Watch, Professor Wang. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned a price that Hamas would pay for its actions and said the strikes in Gaza are just the beginning. Are we seeing the possibility of a prolonged war between the two sides?
Well, unfortunately, I think the war will prolong in the next few weeks because Israel has already denied and rejected the peace call or the mediation call from Egypt and other countries. So, unfortunately, the upcoming following days, we will see more conflict launched by Israel against not only the Hamas and Jihad in militias and targets in Gaza, but also some other the targets that maybe some of the civilian targets inside Gaza that will lead to much more casualties of the local Palestinian people. And on the other hand, I think that against the backdrop that at the beginning, during the past days after the attack launched by Hamas started, Israel suffered a lot, especially Israel suffered the most severe casualties, civilian casualties, ever since its modern state was founded in 1948. So I think Israel's the revenge, retaliation attacks will continue in the future, and unfortunately, it will be tragedy for both sides, civilian, not only Israeli sides, but also the Palestinian people.
Exactly. Disaster for both sides. But Israel is fighting on two fronts with Hamas and with Hezbollah. What does Israel see as the long-term goals and also outcomes of this conflict then?
I think the longer-term goal that from now we can, if we analyze the speeches and statements from the Israeli high leaders, especially the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the defense forces, I think on the one hand they want to totally eliminate the presence of the Hamas as well as the Jihad, their presence inside Gaza Strip. So in the longer term, I think more attacks, especially the very severe attacks against the possible targets that have the linkage with the two groups inside Gaza will be launched by Israeli side. So that's where, again, that will lead to much more casualties and civilian casualties in the Gaza Strip. But on the other hand, the northern frontier, as you mentioned, the Israel forces exchanged fire with the Hezbollah of the southern Lebanon. And I think in the future, Israel hope to maintain the stabilized frontiers with its northern frontier with Hezbollah and other militias, so that they could focus their attention and put their attention, all their strengths in the southern side to so-called eliminate the presence of Hamas and Jihad in the Gaza Strip to reach its goal there.
And the conflict actually, as you said, is a disaster. It's a tragedy for both sides, and indeed it has resulted in casualties on both sides, with Gaza's humanitarian situation still worsening especially. How could Palestine protect its people?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think the Palestinian side, especially the Hamas and the Jihad group in the Gaza Strip, has the very proper or very effective measures to protect its civilians. Because on the one hand, the Gaza Strip is a very narrow area with only 360 square kilometers area, and on the other hand, it has more than 3 million local people there. So it's a very area with so much populations, and also it has been under the blockade of Israel for more than a decade, ever since 2007. So Hamas does not have very effective weapons to protect its people, and also Jihad does not have the proper weapons to protect the people. So I think in the future, in the upcoming days, we will witness the very historic moment. I mean, the historic numbers of the casualties of the Palestinian civilians there.
Biden has made a statement, said that it's crystal clear that the U.S. is with Israel. And the first plane carrying U.S. ammunition has landed in Israel, and according to U.S. Media outlets, the second one is on the way. And the Pentagon says it sent another aircraft carrier there, as we just mentioned. But Yemen's Houthis have voiced opposition to U.S. involvement. What role do you think U.S. will and should play in this conflict?
I think the United States is actually not only trying to pacify the tension, but also to some extent is trying to utilize this conflict to play the greater role there. Because actually, what should be done right now is to help to mediate the two sides and provide opportunities for peace to protect the civilians of the both sides. But on the opposite, the United States, as you mentioned, has already sent the fleet to the Middle East and also with the name to protect Israel. And on the other hand, trying to supply not only the civilian goods, but also civilian necessities, but also the weapons, some of the military related goods to the Israel to help the Israel to launch attacks against Gaza. So I think United States role should be, in my personal point of view, I think United States the role should be maybe towards much more peaceful side to help the two sides, especially the conflicting related sides, to find the opportunities to peace, because the peace will be the only good manners for the civilians of both Israelis and the Palestinians.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Wang Jin from Northwest University in Xi'an.